My daughter keeps trying to feed her dead mommy. Daughter and I have always been as thick as thieves. Her mom passed away when she was just a baby, and ever since then, it's just been my little Kayla and me. I was pretty shaken up for a while after her mom died. We knew it was happening. We had time to prepare or whatever, but when it happened, I think the full weight of her absence was something that sat on my chest for a few months after her passing. Kayla was like my anchor in those times. She gave me missions, things to keep my mind occupied. If she woke up crying, it was my mission to soothe her back to sleep. If she was hungry, it was my job to feed her. It was enough to let the memory of my wife rest, at least for a while. I still felt it though. I'm grateful. It would feel like betrayal if I felt nothing. So, naturally, I still allowed myself to feel. I'd look at Kayla and see her mother. I'd smell her old perfumes and candles, stare at pictures for minutes on end. It was like something new was blossoming in my own spirit. Something that was born out of both grief for my wife and the growing love for my daughter. As I watched her grow up, I could feel my wife's presence. It was like we were still raising our little Kayla together. I never felt alone. I just felt like I was pulling my weight. I think that's what made me bring Kayla up the way I did. It always felt like her mom was watching. I didn't want to disappoint her. One of the big things I kind of hammered into our baby's mind was manners. In my humble opinion, manners are the first thing every child should learn. Simple etiquette goes a long way. That's something my wife and I both agreed on before Kayla was even thought of. As she grew older, into her toddler years, she was already setting the dinner table. Sometimes she'd even try and pour our drinks all by herself, which would often lead to juice flooding the table and her face turning bright red. I never got angry, never punished her. I'd simply help her clean it up, and I'd let her know just how proud I was of her for taking initiative. She never questioned why it was just me and her or anything like that, but I think that she knew something was missing. Sometimes when she'd set the table, she'd make sure to leave out an extra glass and plate for her mommy. I want mommy to eat, too. Pour mommy some juice. Mommy doesn't like the peas. I just thought it was her way of filling in the blanks. She knew she had a mommy. I guess she just thought she didn't see her very much. Looking back now, I think I should have done more to ground her in reality. It was just so difficult. It's hard to tell her she's leaving silverware out for a dead woman. The line should have been when she started leaving food on the plate, reaching in and grabbing fistfuls of spaghetti and plopping them down in the dish, staining the tablecloth in the process. She'd throw fits whenever I tried to stop her, kicking and screaming. It's for mommy. I want mommy to eat too. I didn't want to argue. She was so young and oblivious. I told myself it'd go away with age, except it didn't. If anything, it got worse. As the years went on, she suspiciously stopped setting plates, at least at the dinner table. Instead, I'd hear her rummaging around the kitchen at night. I'd hear the fridge being opened, dishes clanking around loudly. Sometimes I'd hear the ding of the microwave. For a while I thought she was grabbing midnight snacks. But then the smell started. Her room began smelling like a landfill. The stench of rot punched me in the face anytime I entered. But my daughter acted completely oblivious to it. I don't smell anything. Maybe it's outside. I think it's the bathroom. She wasn't fooling me. I knew it was her room. I needed to find out where though. When I found the source, I was equally confused and horrified. She must have had at least a dozen plates under her bed, each one containing heaps of rotting food. When I questioned her about it, her answer was simple: they're for mommy. What was I supposed to do? Punishing her felt wrong, but I knew it was something that had to be done. She needed to know. I told her exactly what I should have told her. When she first started setting out that extra plate, mommy is gone. Her punishment was nothing more than having to clean the food up from under the bed, then wash the dishes. That's it. But she still sulked the entire time. Mommy's gonna be mad at you. I'm just trying to feed her. I know she's hungry, all while staring at me with furrowed eyebrows and a frown that stretched all the way to the ground. She pouted for the rest of the day, but ultimately, things seemed to look normal after that. She still mentioned her mom every now and again, but for a few weeks, she never tried feeding her again. That is until last week. It was late, nearly midnight. I was on the verge of falling asleep when I heard cabinets opening in the kitchen, dishes clanking against the countertop. I sighed to myself, but was too tired to get out of bed. I told myself I'd deal with it in the morning. I'm not sure when the noise in the kitchen stopped. But my alarm clock told me it was 3:20 in the morning when my little Kayla climbed into bed with me. "Daddy," she whispered, "can I sleep in your bed tonight?" I think I mumbled something about her always being welcome before I threw my arm over her and nearly fell asleep again. However, before I fully lost consciousness, there was one last thing I remember Kayla saying before I was out. "I think mommy's mad tonight." I woke up the next morning to Kayla snoring in the bed beside me. It was a Saturday, so I decided to leave her be while I went to the kitchen to make some coffee. On the way to the kitchen, I remembered the noises from last night, and I rolled my eyes as I opened Kayla's door to check under her bed. What I saw still has me shaken, and I don't think it's a feeling I'm going to be able to shake, because underneath her bed, lying limply on a white dinner plate, was a bloodied piece of raw meat, with a clear bite taken out of it.